of Parker-Mims, chair of the Lincoln County Democratic Party. Say it with me, the best county party in the state of Texas, and we have the numbers to prove that. So I'm so excited to be here today on our Up Close and Personal segment. We are talking with none other than Vikki Goodwin, our next Texas Lieutenant Governor. Let's give her a hand. So Vikki, we're just going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you just a few questions so that people get to know you better and get to know how important the Texas Lieutenant Governor's position is. So first of all, we thank you for coming to Denton County. Denton County, we are going to enjoy block walking for you and trying to get rid of Dan Patrick. But tell me what your top 3 priorities are going to be when you take office and get rid of Dan Patrick.
All right. Well, yeah, my slogan is Can Dan, by the way. First of all, public education, supporting our public schools. When I am Lieutenant Governor, I am going to bring that $1 billion for the private school scam back into our public school system where it belongs. Number 2 is healthcare, making sure people can access the healthcare that they need without going bankrupt. We should not have to rely on GoFundMe for our healthcare. And number 3, housing affordability. I believe in the American dream of people owning their own home. I want to make sure that people can access buying a home here in Texas.
Those are great priorities. Let's talk about a few of them. But first, you mentioned something earlier when you were talking, and you were talking about retribution politics. What's happening right now in Austin where we can't get anything done? And how important is the position of Lieutenant Governor in order to push agendas to the table?
Yeah, well, you can see retribution politics in many examples, but the governor and the lieutenant governor will tell members, senators and House members, they have to vote a certain way, they have to do a certain thing, or else. For example, the Governor Abbott, poured money into Republican primaries when some of these Republican members opposed vouchers. So that is one example. Another is that when Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick learned that I was running to be the next Lieutenant Governor, he told chairmen of the committees, do not pass any of Goodwin's bills this session. So while I got a lot of bills passed in my 3rd session, I didn't get a single bill out of committee in my 4th because of retribution politics, and that's wrong.
That's wrong. So you've been a state rep. This is your 4th term that you've been elected, right? Yes. And you've been, this last term, because of all of the political conditions, you've been unable to actually even get any of your bills out of committee because of Dan Patrick?
That's right.
So here's the thing. Aren't you tired, and aren't you guys tired of representatives who are not listening to you? Who are only listening to their primary voters? I think one thing I want you to talk with them about is how important it is to vote in the primary. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, why is primary voting so important?
Absolutely. In order to change how things are going in the state, to make things less divisive, people need to show up for primaries. When so few people vote in primaries, then those elected officials feel accountable only to that small group of people who tend to be very loud, very vocal for things like vouchers. So it's really important. Some people I know will say, well, I don't feel like I'm a part of either team, I'm too moderate. But you need to pick, you need to have a voice in primaries. It's so critical.
Yeah, right on. And it seems to me like everybody, the people who are elected, are only legislating for those primary voters, and the Republicans are not even legislating for other Republicans, because education is one of your big things. And even in this area that's a little bit more red than blue, but it's becoming purple, education was a very important thing, and none of our House representatives voted the way that any of our school boards wanted them to vote. So it is time to get people elected who are willing to work for the people, and not simply primary voters, and not simply being paid to play, because we know that a lot of that is going on in the Republican Party. So tell us, how important is the Lieutenant Governor's race? I remember when we started a new session, we looked to see what the Lieutenant Governor's priorities are. Are those the ones that sets the agenda for the legislatures?
Yes, both the lieutenant governor and the speaker have their own priorities, which, if the lieutenant governor wants something to pass through the Senate, he has the power to do that or to stop things from passing through the Senate. So the governor and lieutenant governor really are the two most powerful people in this state. In terms of setting policy that affects each and every one of our lives, that's something that the lieutenant governor does. The lieutenant governor also appoints chairmen of committees, also sits on the legislative budget board, also has a big influence on the people that are appointed to commissions and other important roles in the state.
So now, I was told, if you know the rules of parliamentary procedure, you can control what information gets voted on or what information becomes before the people. You've been a state representative for 4 years. Are you comfortable being the head, being in charge of the Senate and being able to use the parliamentary procedure to put forth the issues that you think are important?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's always the experts that are there to help us out. There are a lot of senators, for example, Dean Zaffarini, who I have worked with closely over the years, who can help. If I have a question, I know who I can go to make sure that we are having the best process, that we're following the rules, which I don't think Dan Patrick always follows the rules right now. He kind of makes the rules up as he goes. And I am going to make sure that we have a very democratic, deliberative Senate.
Okay, so in summary, the lieutenant governor is very important. It is the person who is in charge of the Senate, basically sets the agenda for the different issues that are going to come up and be voted on, can have a big impact on who gets put in what committee and who chairs what committee. And we already know that the Republicans, part of their deal is they don't even want Democratic people in charge of committees. So for one, that would open up an opportunity for Democrats to get those issues into those committees and start getting legislation. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Who chairs the committee makes all the difference in the world, because the chairman decides what bills are heard, chairman decides what bills get out of committee. So yeah, there's a lot of power with the lieutenant governor and with the chairman of committees.
All right, well, we're going to get ready to wrap up, but in order for us to get a Democratic elected, we have got to support that candidate. So, Vikki, do you have a website where people can go, they can find your donation link, and we can help you get elected? Because we know Dan Patrick, he likes to pay to play, right? It's hard for me to remember because we don't do that. But he's going to have a lot of money, and we're going to need to donate to this candidate, even if it's monthly. Monthly donations add up, and if we can't do a lot, monthly donations add up. So I'm gonna leave it to you. Let you tell them the last thing you want to hear, whatever that is, and also how to get in touch with you, how to find your donation link so we can help get you elected.
I appreciate that. It's really easy. It's goodwinfortexas.com.
Right on.
And you can be a gem. A gem is someone who gives every month. I learned that from another county party. But I love the fact that, yes, those recurring donations are very helpful. We are a grassroots campaign. I want to have as many people participating in my campaign, no matter what level you can give at. And thank you again. Go to goodwinfortexas.com. Thanks.